welcome to the Groove Dudes podcast, a place for analyzing drum grooves and busting chops. My name is Cody Moulton, one of your hosts today, joined here by Tabor, who's playing us in. He's supping it. Today we got a fun thing, another fun thing for you. Obviously, always fun. If it's not fun, then we wouldn't be doing it. So we're talking about the Moeller Stroke today. Probably one of the, one of the most widely used hi-hat patterns. And it fits all over the place too, but most widely used across hi-hat beats. Especially if you're a punk drummer, like this is your episode, okay? Because tons of Moeller and punk drumming, and also a lot in alternative rock. So anyway, when did you first Moeller, dude?
Encounter this from you, I do believe. Yeah. You taught it to me way back in the day, and that makes it sound like I have it mastered. So let's say you showed me this last week, Cody.
Yeah, I just showed you
actually.
And you're like, Moeller?
Yeah, just
like, whoa,
what?
I went to high school with that guy, you know?
Yeah, back in the Civil War. So
yeah, we were just we were reading up on him a little bit before this, and so he is around 19th century, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere.
You know, I didn't get too specific, but yeah.
Somewhere in that 100 years, which is actually in the scope of the universe. That's very specific.
It's very specific. And Moeller being one guy out of how many people exist, you know what I mean? So we got this thing pinned down.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently he watched a lot of drummers in the Civil War, and he was impressed by how they could play for so long and play so loud without getting tired. And so in his book he described that. It's called like the Moeller book or something.
Tome.
The
Tome of Moeller.
Yeah. You open it and it just singes your eyebrows off and you're blessed with glory. But anyway, so the whole point of the Moeller Stroke is to save energy. Now, a lot of drumming is really efficient when you think of it as a lot of circular motions. If drumming is really rigid, it takes up a lot of energy, and there's a lot of lost energy. You can't redirect a lot of that movement if you're rigid, going straight up and down every time you're hitting drums and you're playing things. And you're losing some energy that you can recycle, pretty much. And so the Moeller Stroke is perfect at this, right? Because the point of it is you do one stroke with your arm, hitting the hi-hat. Generally, we'll focus on the hi-hat. It doesn't have to be, but hitting the hi-hat with one stroke coming down, and then when you bring your arm up for the next stroke, you hit the hi-hat again. Right, so you're saving energy, you're being efficient, and that actually, as you play it, you'll notice that your hand moves in a kind of a circular motion, right? So anyway, Tabor, what are some benefits and challenges you have with the Moeller Stroke?
Yeah, so I think you covered the benefits really, really well. I think you just get faster too. Like if I'm really rigid with it,
right?
I can't. That's just more comfortable to have that thing going on there. So a little bit of speed, comfortability, longevity. You could just keep it rocking forever. I think it could translate to the ride bell.
Right.
I don't know if it's coming through on the electronic kit, but I mean that's the stroke right there. Down on the bell, so you get that shoulder, getting it really good, and then light tap on the body of the cymbal. But to answer your question, the struggle for me, and I don't know if this is a struggle for everybody else out there, is doing other things underneath it.
All right.
For sure. And that's actually my example. Are we going into your example first or my example first?
Yeah, I'll kick us off here. And
okay.
Both of these examples, Tabor showed me what he was doing before this. They're both going to be focused on, if you can dial in the Moeller Stroke on the hi-hat, I think that's pretty straight. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It might be difficult physically to get comfortable with, but I think it's pretty easy to understand once you get comfortable with it. The challenge is what you're saying, right? What can you do with your hand underneath, with your left hand? or with your kick without interrupting the groove. Part of the reason I love the Moeller Stroke is because it really grooves well. It really makes things feel fluid, right? So there's I'm going to use another 21 Pilots song, but there's actually a Three Doors Down song, a bunch of Three Doors Down songs that use tons of Moeller Stroke, and I love it. Right? Pretty straightforward. A little bit of ghost notes there with the left hand underneath. That's from Behind Those Eyes. It's the third Three Doors Down album. But just grooves super well. And so I'll show you. There's a new 21 Pilots song that came out a week ago. 21 Pilots. I mumble that because it is a long name, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not capitalized, you know what I mean? So it's like harder to say, you know. So anyway,
What? What?
I don't know, man. You go look at their they actually capitalize it
thing
nowadays. But there was a while there where they didn't ever capitalize it. So they just came with a new song called Overcompensate. And one of the things with Josh Dunn, the drummer, he's very focused on groove, hi-hat groove. And he uses Moeller Stroke in tons of songs. So if you want to practice Moeller, go look up 21 Pilots, go look up Three Doors Down, alternative rock, things like that, tons of Moeller. So this is how the song goes. I'll play it how it is, and then we'll slow it down, and we'll break it into chunks here. So... So that's kind of the beat he does.
That's great.
And it's like the second chunk of the song because he actually spends the first chunk is a totally different beat, totally different tempo.
Cool.
So let's break it down to I'm going to take all the ghost notes out.
Okay.
So we just have the kick, the Moeller Stroke, and then the snare as the backbeat. Which feels pretty good, but it gains a ton by adding in these ghost notes. And he's actually varying the ghost notes so much that he's not doing quite as a looped pattern as I am. He's doing a lot more extra stuff with some of those ghost notes.
It's just kind of whatever he was feeling in the studio, do you think? Rather than something pre-written?
I don't know if there's a recurring pattern on all the ghost notes he's doing. It's a new song. I've only listened to it for a few days. But it seems like, he's just he's super comfortable with those ghost notes underneath. He's doing all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to play it slow now with the ghost notes. I'm going to take out the kick. Right, so lots of the ghost notes into the backbeat. You know, things like that.
That's cool.
Right. And then you add that with the kick beat. And maybe I should slow down a little bit more. But the kick beat adds a lot of flavor too.
That feels solid at the end too.
Yeah, he does some little bit different things than that, but it's got that feel of like a lot of offbeat accents across it.
Yeah, man, I really like that. I like how versatile everything you're doing. Like what we said at the start of the episode, the hard part getting into the stroke is adding all the stuff underneath.
Right.
I think that's like the perfect groove to try to master.
Right.
So they kind of gain the confidence to do whatever you want.
It gives you tons
underneath.
of arm strength and endurance. So I watch a lot of these punk drummers play hour-and-a-half long shows. And I'm like, how the heck? Like, it's a lot of energy, and a lot of they're recycling a lot of that energy. A lot of these. Like a lot of that. That's Moeller Stroke behind that, you know. See, it's hiding back there, a little sneaky.
Yeah. It's all over.
And then one more thing with this, and then we'll jump over to what you got.
Yeah, please.
You'll hear it a lot with snare fills too. So if you hear something like this, that is a Moeller Stroke right there. Right.
I was just about to ask you.
Right. Doesn't sound like it. You're just doing. I'm just doing accents, on the downbeat, 16th notes. But yeah, just a Moeller Stroke on the snare. So if you want to get those kind of single stroke fills down with accents in them on the downbeats, it's a Moeller Stroke.
Yeah. It helps you take off your speed.
Yeah.
Crikey, you're right.
Yeah.
I've never thought of it that way before.
Yeah.
Well, I have, but not realizing it's a slow one, too.
Right.
That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, my example today is not as involved as yours. I got to practice what you just showed because that's awesome. But mine comes from a band that's new to me called Goldfinger. I got a student, my main man, Nathaniel. Shout out to him.
99 red balloons.
Red balloons.
Right?
Yeah. It's a song called Get What I Need. And I'm teaching him drums right now. And he chose that as like his first song to learn. And dude, it's kicking both of our butts.
Yeah, I
It's
bet.
fast.
He's
It's
ambitious.
fast. It's got all sorts of stuff. Yeah, he's very ambitious. He's played drums before, taking lessons with me. But anyway, there's a part in the middle where it's mostly just that hi-hat going. And he's got 4 on the floor going on the bass drum. And he uses, pretty sure it's like a side snare that he's got cranked up that he plays it on. He plays this lick on splashes across the tom. I'll show it to you on the snare. But he's fitting a triplet underneath the Moeller Stroke. So it becomes sort of a 4/3-ish polyrhythm thing. So I'll play you the part of the song.
Yeah.
And that's got such a cool
awesome.
little funky feel, you know, just the triplet underneath. So
Right.
that kicked both of our butts for a little bit, because it's harder, slower.
Right.
Because you go both accented, and then that third one fits,
Right.
I think, on the quiet one. Now I can't do it slow. So anyway, I wanted to share that because I think it's a great way of introducing conflicting volume demands
Right.
out of your hands, because I'm doing quiet with my right hand,
Right.
but loud with my left. That's a hard juxtaposition to get down,
So-
especially if you're newer at drums.
So that trade-off, I've been thinking about it here as you were playing it, right? So,
Yeah.
So some like, so yeah, you're right. So you're synced with your right hand on the accented note of the Moeller Stroke, the left hand accent on the snare, and then in between some of the next hits, in between the light hit, you've got a quiet. You've got Well, no, because then you start the oh, no, I'm right, yeah. So I'm just thinking about the triplet part.
Yeah.
You're in between, and then at the very end, yes, now you've got the flip-flop, where your left hand is cranking the snare, and your right hand is quiet on the Moeller.
Yeah.
So you're doing one of these quiet hi-hats with the loud snare. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's cool,
That's
man.
so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really dug that, and maybe because I want to learn how to play that, like, tons of ghost note groove with that going over the top of it that you showed. Like, I can do ghost note patterns, right? That's pretty comfortable, but my hands just melt when I try to keep this going. So there's my practice for.
Yeah, man. Well, and the thing I like too about the one you're showing, the Goldfinger one, is you have the double snare. You take the hand off from the Moeller Stroke and you reintroduce it. Now, you don't actually need to change your motion because actually you do, because you're accenting both of those. That would normally be the quiet part of the Moeller Stroke with your right hand. So when you go on to
yeah.
So that's kind of, I like how that changes it a little bit. Oh, you got to pull the hand off. You got to pull your right hand off of that main hi-hat, go into the snare to help pick up each of those small sections. Which actually, the beat I showed did something similar. He changes it every once in a while. He does these little pull it back, get on the snare, changes the feel of it. You know what I mean? I love it. Yeah.
That was left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually left, right. Left, right,
left,
correct.
Yeah, there are notes, and they were played.
Yes,
I can confirm. So anyway, there you go. Some stuff with the Moeller Stroke today. This is honestly a technique that we could revisit this, down the road, not too far.
Oh, yeah.
Multiple times. This is just used so much, so many places all over. It's so useful everywhere, and especially if you flip flop it, start using it with your weak hand, trying to play beats with your left hand, your right hand. Oh man, that kicks my butt so bad, So by all means, practice it that way. Get comfortable with that. So anyway, Tabor, you want to drum us out, my dude?
Heck yeah, dude. Let's do it.
All right. So thanks for listening to Groove Dudes today, my friends. Please follow us on all of our social media. We're on Facebook, on Instagram, and most importantly, we're on YouTube. You can find us on all these places at GrooveDudesPod. YouTube might be at GrooveDudesPodcast. And then we do have an email, GrooveDudesPod@gmail.com, if you want to get a hold of us. Or you can message us on any of those social media platforms. But follow us there. We have updates. We post new episodes there. We have an episode out every week. So let us know what you like about this episode and what feedback you have, and what kind of techniques you want us to explore in future episodes. So we would love to build this podcast on your guys' input and the community we create here. So anyway, let us know. Thanks for listening, and go bust some chops.